I had no problem finding the most sunken place picture of Daniel J. Cameron. Wait until you hear what this shuck and jive tap dancing Popeye's butter biscuit without the honey jigaboon did. Now, I just recently did a video about him. It was a picture of him and his wife or fiance, whoever she is, and it just looked like a plantation celebration. And he is the DA who is supposed to be responsible for charging those terrorists for killing Breonna Taylor, which he has not done and most likely will never do. But guess what he has decided to do? So there were about 87 protesters that went to his house to protest outside of his house and demanding that he charge and arrest the 3 cops that were involved with the murder of Breonna Taylor. And as far as I'm concerned, the attempted murder of Kenneth Walker, because he could have died too. Do you know that this clean-shaven, shoe-shining bastard charged or arrested all 87 of those protesters? 2 of them we are familiar with. One is Kenny Steele, who used to be, a professional football player. And the other one is Portia Williams, who was on that show, The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And not only did they get arrested, but they were hit with felony charges and they didn't get a bond. The same thing that should have been hit with those terrorists, he hit with those protesters. And to my knowledge, most of those protesters out there were black. What does that tell you? That's why when it comes to these politrictions, as I call them, you as a black person, if they're black, you need to vet them properly before you cast your vote. You need to see where their mindset is at. Where do they stand when it comes to you and your needs? Because I can look at this guy right here and tell that not one black person vetted him. He looks like he probably was vetted by the ventriloquist dummy Mitch McConnell. I wouldn't be surprised. I saw a picture of him with 45 just smiling from it. It's sort of like how he's smiling right here. The guy doesn't even look real. He looks malfunctioned. That's why I say he looks like he's in a sunken place. Like all I'm hearing is the clink clink of that teacup. He is in dire need of the flash to happen to snap him up out of his slumber. Because this guy is all the way gone. But let me go ahead and read this article coming from rollingout.com. And this, if it sounds like it's talking about Portia Williams, that's because the person who wrote it from mentioning her quite a bit in the article, but it could stand to mean for the protesters in general. Portia Williams' participation in peaceful protests in central Kentucky was befitting of her proud civil rights lineage, but it has now landed her behind bars with a felony charge and no bond. The longtime Real Housewives of Atlanta star, age 39, was taken into custody where she was slapped with 3 charges after demanding state officials expedite the legal process on behalf of slain EMT worker Breonna Taylor. Williams, age 39, and Love and Hip Hop New York star Yandy Smith were among the 87 people arrested outside the home of Attorney General Daniel Cameron because they encroached on the AG's home en masse. Cameron had the police round up the throngs and hauled them off to the county lockup. Williams was charged with felony intimidating a participant in the legal process, according to the blast. She was also charged with criminal trespass, a 3rd-degree misdemeanor, and disorderly conduct, a 2nd-degree misdemeanor. Williams will have to see a judge on Wednesday, July 15th, which of course has already passed, where she is expected to receive bond and release. Taylor's case has become an international cause célèbre after the 26-year-old was slaughtered in a hail of bullets months ago by undercover terrorists who executed a no-knock warrant. But hey, I told y'all about this guy in a video I did about a couple weeks ago. I told y'all about him. I said this is the guy right here that they have to go after. This is him. And it's crazy because when I did that video, I said everybody who wants to, get those terrorists arrested and charged for what they did to Breonna Taylor, he's the guy you got to go through. He's the one that's holding it up. but he manages to arrest all the protesters who most of them happen to be black. And notice when I mention these people's names, he didn't care that they were on these television shows, or he didn't care that these were pro athletes. He didn't care. The fact of the matter is, you encroach onto what he considers to be his domain, and because you fit the bill, and y'all know what I mean when I said that, you were automatically deemed a threat. This when we say 2/3, he's definitely a part of it. He's in his own little sector of that, though. I wonder how he sounds when he talks. Well, I've noticed that a lot of these individuals like him, they kind of sound like Paris Denard. They sound all nasally, like, you know, they got no bass in their voice whatsoever. Like, they could easily be intimidated. But like I said, one thing my late uncle always said: never trust a black man with a shaven face. Him, 44, Paris Denard, Don Lemon. I mean, I can go on, and we all know what those individuals have in common, and then some.